Somebody made the mistake of asking me about my opinions as a scientist on the things that I talk about. Ask and you shall receive. I am beyond heartbroken over the things that are happening right now. The goal was always to make the world better, to ease suffering, that maybe something that somebody like me or any other scientist made would make a difference. I have been so excited for gene editing technology to become commonplace. Hey, human trials are going on right now to use CRISPR for not just things that are devastating, but to prevent larger problems and extend people's lives. It's incredibly exciting, but there is a major problem. We know that this technology is safe. We know that it's worked in animal models, and for the human models, it's going pretty damn well. But if you have a child that has a condition, potentially one that is life-altering and life-shortening, if you can't afford to get them treatment, there aren't any options. Even if you have all the money in the world, the treatments, while there, right in front of my eyes, I see how they could work. I've seen them work in mouse models. If they're not going to be financially beneficial, that treatment isn't going to come out. It's not going to be available. And if it is, it's going to be with a lot of work, a lot of begging and pleading, and ultimately finances. Somebody has to finance it. I have met families with children who have devastating conditions. I know that the technology to treat them exists. Maybe not in people yet, but it's there. Like the use of lipid nanobots to deliver medications, things like mRNA, things that could alter gene expression, or even something like CRISPR directly into the brain. That big barrier to treatment, figuring out how to edit genes that involved editing them in the brain, is there. So when I'm talking about funding cuts, when I'm talking about how devastating it is to the scientific community, that is what I think about. Families with children that desperately need treatment and desperately need it now to preserve whatever function those children have left, and maybe give them a better life, a long life. The possibilities are fantastic. If you had a parental screening, if you had an in utero screening, and you knew that your child is going to be born with a devastating condition that would rob them of their skills, of their ability to speak and walk and live independently, if you knew that you could get them treatment and change all of that, you would. I would. However, it's being taken away along with all of our funding. Science is an industry, that is true. And ultimately, we get funding from places like Monsanto Bayer. I do, at least. With the idea that it is going to provide long-term benefits. A lot of government programs involved in giving funds to private companies is bribing them to try to do the right thing. Fund alternative fertilizers, like I do. Or make another antibiotic, which is also part of the program. If you're going to be a pharmaceutical company, you're going to need to research so many antibiotics a year if you want to get other breaks. I am watching that go away. The people who are cheering for this do not understand what they're losing, and they won't understand it until it affects them personally, and I don't want to see them affected personally. I do not want revenge. I want a functional society. I want suffering to not be based on whether or not your specific condition is financially beneficial to treat. And yes, it will benefit everyone, I promise, because the technology involved in learning to treat a condition is also going to help other technology down the line. That's how science works. Oftentimes, I have a similar problem to solve. Not exactly the problem that someone else fixed, but I can see the connections. I can try this. This is why this will work. If it's a rarefied kind of situation, that's even better. Because that is what we do. We solve problems. Y'all probably should not ask me for my opinions. It's going to be angering and depressing and divisive.